because I prefer the bookstores are set up.
But like, just like they know, like, do you think libraries have to pay?
No, like they'll come in here and think this is a library. I'm like, no, like, or like when I worked in Mahogany too, they was like, hey, is this a library? Can I check it out? I was like, no, it's a bookstore.
I used to work for what?
Really? Yeah, I really didn't understand. Because personally, I've always preferred bookstores.
Yeah.
Like even as a kid, I'm like, you can't tell me what I'm supposed to get this book.
My thing is, I never really knew what I wanted. Like, I liked reading as a kid, but then, like, as I got older, I was like, okay, where do I start? So bookstores, I feel like, are more so set up for you to have an idea of what you want to read and stuff like that. Then this is going to sound so cliche, but then I found Well Read Black Girl, and I started seeing posts of all these books about Black authors that I hadn't heard of before, and I was like, oh, there's so much out here. Especially you came to a Black bookstore.
All right, and the new had just come out, so that was like the first book that got me right back.
I was about to say, that was around the time that I kind of did. I remember, like, I joined a book club, we read the book, and then when the movie came out, we saw the movie, and I was working at
I worked on her stuff.
Yeah.
I love the reading the acknowledgments and seeing all the
It's so weird seeing it paper right now.
Yeah, I mean, I came in, let's do it. March, it was like, I started it a month after, and I just kind of like helped keep it going. But yeah, like, it was just like, it just kept selling. So, and then even when I was at Hartford, they would be like, okay, we're going to do next year for the paperback. And then we'd be like, no, they're good.
Yeah, it was literally like number one for so long.
Okay, so you have that on, or? So should we go first?
Yes, I mean, but y'all can sit.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah. Let me get
Yeah, that's. Hello, everybody. Can y'all hear me back there? Welcome. Yes, please. Come. If y'all want to sit closer and have a little community feel free. Thank you. All right, so welcome. This is our YA book launch. My name is Michaela. I'm the store manager, and I'm so happy that y'all can be here. Is it anybody's first time at Sankofa? Welcome. So welcome to y'all, and we also have like a live audience out there. So welcome and thank you for tuning in. Like I said, this is our YA book launch, and I just want to talk a little bit about why we started the YA book club. You know, we have a lot of children's events and a lot of adult events, and we just wanted to bridge the gap in between. We think it's really important to have the young generation come through these doors and experience what Sankofa has to offer. So again, thank y'all for being here. Really appreciate it. So we are here to talk about Love Radio. Yes. If you didn't already get your copy, we have plenty available. You can get it signed because we have the lovely Ebony LaDelle here. Yes. And she will be in conversation with Miss Glory Edim. I always say it wrong.
No, you say it right every time.
I appreciate that. Okay, so yes, and Love Radio is our first speaker. It is a beautiful book. It is about, of course, love, but it's young love. And it features two young people and their journey together. The first character you're going to come in contact with is Prince Jones. He is very unique in that he's the youngest person to have a radio station. He thinks he has everything figured out. And then Miss Danny Ford walks in. Is that her last name? Did I get that right? Thank you so much.
No, don't be tripping about people. That's like,
I'm trying to get it all right. I don't want to look. I have the author right here. I can't get the name. Okay, so she enters the picture, and she just throws Prince kind of off and just get everything together. And she's like, "Well, I don't know about that. My mom likes all these, these love movies and stuff, but I don't know if that's really for me." That's what she says. But if you read the book, she might feel a little bit differently. So before they start the Q&A, we're gonna have a lovely young poet here named Zaria Boyd. Okay. I'm gonna flash her Cash App across the screen, okay? So y'all out there in the virtual world can show her some love with some dollars, okay? All right, Zaria, can you please step up here, please, and tell us about yourself?
My name is Zaria Boyd. I'm from the city. I attended Dunbar. Graduated class of 2020.
Hey.
After that, I went to Morgan State. I went to Morgan State for about a semester. It's COVID, all of that. I'm currently a teacher. Right now, I'm working uptown at Brightwood Elementary School. I work at a whole bunch of different schools all throughout the city. I teach poetry, English, and creative writing. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Appreciate y'all for having me. I hate having to jump straight into poems, but that's what I'm about to do. I got a whole bunch of love poems. I love writing, love poetry. So, yeah. Happiness is when I dial your number on FaceTime and you answer after the first 3 rings. I try to fixate my face when the phone stay connected, so you can never know how much I liked you. Happiness is me trying to tone back my smile whenever I see you, because people notice me getting more excited to see you than them. Happiness is not being able to and greeting you with the biggest smile in the world. Happiness is knowing that you give the best hugs. It's not being in love with you, but anticipating how great I could love you. Happiness is anticipating loving you. Happiness is blushing whenever you call me cute. If you haven't caught on, happiness is my crush on you. It feels elementary, like someone restored the youth to the butterflies in my stomach. Some days I get the urge to pass you with no dead reads. Do you like me? Check yes or no, just so I can know if your crush on me is as big as my crush on you. Because if you have as many butterflies as I do, maybe we can open a butterfly sanctuary. My crush on you contradicts my thoughts that I can never love again. It contradicts the pain that I've gained from all those that I loved before. Like a hard-headed child touching a hot stove, I would hurt all over again if it means that my crush on you could be something more than just a crush on you. My crush on you feels like jump school. And if you're wondering what jump school is, in the military they have a program where they train you to jump out of a plane 1,000,000 times over. My crush on you feels exactly like that. Pure and comfortable, familiar but still exciting. Pure and comfortable, familiar but still exciting. As I get ready to jump out of a plane and free fall into the thought of you, landing safely in an imaginary future I built for us. Where your last name is mine and my address is ours, and we dance to old jazz music all night. My crush on you feels exactly like that. Pure and comfortable, familiar but still exciting, like everything I ever prayed for, a blessing that fell right into my lap whenever I'm with you. I feel about 10 steps closer to peace and 100 steps closer to God. My crush on you feels holy. It feels like a black church on Sundays and Sunday dinners at grandma's right after. My crush on you feels like clarity. See, I've never been so sure of liking anything until I had a crush on you. You established yourself in my mind, and now you live in a penthouse apartment rent-free with all the amenities, and I don't mind. Because I would rather live with you than without. I would rather live with the thought of you than without you at all. Thank you.
Come on, girl.
Sometimes, it's a long poem. I mess it up a little bit. Next poem. This is an older one, but this is my absolute favorite thing I've ever written. Let me tell y'all something. My generational peers who don't know what love is, honestly, it's the best thing God ever created. I know it's hard to find, but trust me, when you do, it's amazing. It connects your heart and your brain in ways that can't be explained. It clinches your brain, it cures pain. Love really is a universal medicine that we all should taste. Hold up. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me get deep on y'all right quick. Famous author Dr. Seuss wrote my favorite children's book. Red fish, blue fish, one fish, two fish. One said, "You know you're in love when you can't fall asleep because reality is finally better than your dreams." Well, the writer of Green Eggs and Ham has a point. Because the feeling of me loving you and you loving me is better than even my wildest dreams. The feeling of your love makes me feel complete. Like a puzzle finally found its missing piece, giving me mental peace. Pushing out all negative energy, his love gives me serenity. It's my presence in my future, and I'm proud of it. I'm a lost soul who found love, and I'm surrounded in it. Thank you. Once again, I appreciate y'all for having me. I really like experiences like this. So yeah, thank you.
Can I get a dawn with your bad self?
Yeah, your bad self.
Thank you. That was so lovely. Okay, so hold on. And I'm back. Okay. Again, I want to welcome everyone in here. I hope y'all are having a good time so far. We're about to get into the Q&A portion with Glory first, and then you all can ask your own questions. Before I do that, I want to introduce them. So first, starting with Miss Ebony LaDelle. Ebony LaDelle is a marketing pusher by day, storyteller by night. Born in Michigan, awoken at Howard University, HU, and cultivated in Brooklyn. Ebony can usually be found searching for her next live concert, scouting out the latest food craze to try, or being the undisputed mom friend of any group. She co-hosted Why Not YA, a Beltrist and Epic Reads monthly video series where she interviewed authors in the young adult space. You can visit her online at ebonyladelle.com and follow her on social media at Ebony LaDelle. And I just want to say she has an awesome Love Radio mix on her website as well. So please check it out. If y'all want to be moving like all day, please check it out.
We were just listening to Mint Condition, right?
Yes, we were, yes. And also, you heard the part about her being a marketing pusher by day. Please take this opportunity if y'all are looking to publish or write or anything like that. Ask your questions. It doesn't just have to be about the book, okay? Take advantage of this really awesome opportunity. And next we have Glory Edim, writer and founder of the Well-Read Black Girl Book Club. Glory Edim is a book lover who brings readers and writers together to celebrate the written word. Glory Edim is the founder of Well-Read Black Girl Brooklyn-based book club, an online community that celebrates the uniqueness of Black literature and sisterhood. In fall 2017, she organized her first ever Well-Read Black Girl Literary Festival. She's worked as a creative strategist for over 10 years at startups and culture institutions, including Kickstarter, the Webby Awards, and the New York Foundation for the Arts, and I can go on and on and on. So without further ado, please give these two lovely ladies a round of applause.
Thank you.
I have to thank y'all for being here.
Sure. All right. Is this on? Okay. I'm just so excited y'all are spending Saturday with us. It's a hot day. We were inside. Very easy, very humid, but we're just like so happy to celebrate your book. And the poetry just opens this up in the perfect place.
Thank you so much.
I tried to wear like my 90s gear today. I have jeans
I love how
on.
our shirts. We didn't
coordinate this, but if y'all look down we have this energy, and then Howard's in the background, of course. All these things. Ebony, I love your book. You know that. You know I love radio. But I want to know how you developed Danny and Friends, because it took me back to me being in high school. I went to high school here in Northern Virginia, in Arlington. But and even though this is in Detroit, I felt like I could have been right in the high school with you and feeling that same energy. So tell me how you decided to write the story and why it was so important to create like a beautiful Black love story.
Yeah, so the characters came to me first. The characters always come to me first. I'm more of a voice writer than setting. So Detroit, the funny thing about it is like that's one of the marketing hooks about the book. But when I first wrote Love Radio, Detroit was not going to be the setting. I just wanted to write this strong, character-driven novel about two teenagers falling in love, two Black teenagers falling in love. And so Danny was me at 17, like just be my whole like teenage career. Very shy, the whole writing in her journals and not letting anybody see their writing. Like, Laura, when did you find out I wanted to be a writer?
Oh, girl, much later.
I knew that. I kept that under wraps. Like, that's how afraid I was to just like vocally say that I wanted to write.
And so I really was writing the story for like teenage Ebony, like what would I want to read, how would I want to read it? And so I wanted to write a Black narrator, a girl who was sort of a recluse. And I think that was also really important for me, right? Because, you know, Black teenage girls, Black women in general, we always have to be super perfect in any and everything that we do. And I wanted to show a character that was trying to figure it out, that had these emotions, that were upset about things that happened to her. And also was like hesitant about this dude that was coming at her because she's like, we're young. I know this is young love. I don't know if I want this. I just want to go away to school. So that's how she came together. Prince is like, for anybody who's read Love Radio, Prince is the favorite.
So charismatic.
Yeah.
He's cute.
He's
super cute.
He's adorable. I made him that way because Danny is she's the star of the show, and she needs to be courted. So I was like, I need to create this like character, this guy who is just like irresistible. Like every girl is like, oh my God, I would love to have a prince like this. And she's like, you know, show me what you really got. And so I was trying to figure out, okay, if he's gonna give like love advice, how would he give it? And so the obvious thing to me was social media, because that's like the easy thing to do. But I kept thinking of like driving in Detroit with my mother, going to work in school, and listening to like all the radio stations growing up. And so for me, that was like Johnny Simpson, that was Russ Parr. Who else? There was like a local Detroit DJ called Mason. It was like Mason in the Morning, Steve Harvey. You know, I could go on and on. And I kept thinking of like the celebrity gossip, the like celebrity tea, the pranks. Oh my God, those pranks, and the love advice. And I was thinking like the love advice was always so horrible. It was kind of like the pranks, and we were just laughing like this couple was done. And so once I thought of that, I was like, oh, that could be cool. Like, what if like a teenage boy who was like this charming, irresistible boy actually gave really good love advice? And then once I established that, I was like, all right, girl, you can't not write about this. So that was like my whole journey to say I need to write about the D. And it was sort of like I felt like, especially going to Howard, you have people from the Midwest, you have people from like any other areas, like inner city, high school, like life. I wanted that to be reflected in the book. So like any Black teenager could read this book and say like, oh yeah, like I know exactly what this is. So
100%. I mean, I feel like at one moment I was like, this is a young Martin and Gina.
Oh my God, so you know what's so funny? So, okay, as I was writing, because I was like, oh, it's gonna be radio, it's gonna be this, and then I like one day I was at my computer laughing. I was like, yo, I wrote the Wyatt Martin. Because when you think about it, like Prince is Martin, he gives love advice. Danny is Gina. She's like no nonsense. She about her life. She got her friends. Danny has her friends. You know, Gina had Pam. And then Martin has his crew of dudes that they just cut up, and that's Prince. Like him and his friends just be running around Detroit just acting silly. And I was like, yo, I really wrote the Y.A. Martin. I'm fine with that. That's perfect. I wanted to comment to that, but I was like, ain't nobody. Well, and publishing, ain't not.
In publishing.
Yeah.
This is so adorable. Like I hope. I mean, there's so many features with this book that I would love to see on screen.
Yes.
Let's put our fingers there too, because it just is so vivid and beautiful, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of stories that come in YA, they tend to be heavy, intense with the subject matter. There's can be trauma, which is not to say that we don't need those stories. We do, but we also need a balance of joy and laughter and Black love. Like I think it's just so rewarding to read your story because I feel so satisfied at the end of reading it. Like they get a happy ending, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that was because I worked in publishing, or worked because I'm on a little sabbatical. Because I worked in publishing for a little bit, like that's what I was used to seeing coming in. And for me, like you said, like those stories are important, and I'm glad we have those. We just need a balance.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny because one of my professors, he's a published author, Tony Medina. I don't know if anybody here knows him, but I remember I was in a poetry class with him, and he said he was talking about like some of like the books back in the day, the like Fly Girls and the Coldest Winter Evers and like all the Zane books, and he was asking like us to read those titles. And so, some of us are putting our hand up, like a little bit. But also we were like, oh no, because you at Howard, it's like you're not supposed to talk about how you read those things. But then he was just talking about that and just posting it to like, literary grace, and saying that balance is important. It's just making sure that you have that balance. and that always stuck with me. And so when, you know, I started working in publishing and I was seeing all these titles that were important, I'm just like, okay, this is great. But where's the balance? Like, where are the other books? Like, we can talk about the difficult things that, you know, we as Black people face. It doesn't have to be the center of the story. You know, like, it could be against the backdrop. So it's interesting when I do interviews, people are like, well, how are you able to fit so much into this? And it's just like, because that's normal life. Like, you know, this is what we go through. There's nothing new about this. And yet, how is it that our people are able to have so much joy and laughter, and we can be in like the craziest situations, and someone will crack a joke, and it's just like it's a wrap, you know? Like we're able to find the beauty and like, you know, the discomfort and the hardships and stuff. So that's really what I wanted to show.
I've been reading, I mean, I read so many different books, but recently I did another talk with Mecca with the book Big Girl. And I was thinking about how your books are almost in conversation with one another, because again, it's about these young people trying to find themselves and define themselves and not have to be like limited by how society expects them to behave or wants them to almost like shrink, you know? And so in Mecca's book, it's really about body positivity and just like embracing all parts of yourself. And I love how you do that with both characters when it comes to Danny and Prince. They are able to really define who they want to be. When you were crafting the book and really developing their characters, like, was that part of your like ethos, where you're like, yeah, we make these people have their own agency, be independent, or did it come just naturally as you were writing the story?
When I started this book, it was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be a love story. You know, once I sort of had like the thing about each of the characters, and then I started figuring out the scenes, like where I wanted them to go and trade in terms of the dates. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then as I started writing it, I was like, yo, Ebony, what is happening here? You know, because I started to think of all those things, and it really was just thinking about what does a healthy relationship look like, and what needs to be included. You got to be your own person, and so much of like, you know, especially white love stories that I've read, it just felt like the love was just, that was it. It was like they're everything. And that's actually what I hated about love stories. And that's what I loved about like the 90s, 2000 movies, because, you know, these characters were going on their own different journeys and then they find each other. And that's what I wanted to show with these two. And so I wanted them to, you know, be ambitious in their own right. I wanted them to have dreams. You know, I want them to be at different stages of their dreams and how they were going after it. I wanted you to see like, okay, well, a lot of people say Prince is so mature, but then if you actually look at Prince's life, he's taking care of his mother who has MS. His father walked out on him and his mother. He has a younger brother that he looks after. Like, he has to grow up really fast. And so he's like, no, I ain't thinking about my future. Like, look at my plate, you know, without actually saying that. And so that started to become really important to me as the story developed, and it made it really easy for me to like find, because you know, in like love stories, there's always like a point where like it's like, will they, won't they, like are they gonna get together or not? And I kind of wanted to use like their life and their traumas, and we all deal with this when, you know, you're dealing with your own insecurities and emotions, and you're trying to, you know, make a relationship work. It's like, is it me or is it the relationship? And so just showing them go through this journey of self-love before they came back together was something that ultimately became a part of the story that I didn't even realize would be at first.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so beautifully done. And I think it's so crucial to just like overemphasize that they're 17, you know, they're really young people, and those early relationships really set the precedent for your later relationships. So if you feel proud of yourself, if you feel like you can be in a relationship and not be overly codependent, that kind of sets like how you continue to grow up as an adult and have beautiful, healthy relationships. I do want to talk about, like, because you mentioned movies, and while I was also thinking of TV, I was thinking of Love Jones, and I was thinking of Poetic Justice and everything else. Can you talk about the films that inspired you as you were writing?
Yeah, so I think of literature and how, again, talking about white literature, because I'm just giving you guys the example of like why I love radio is what it is. And like how they'll talk about Gone with the Wind and all these like classics, these white classics that we all heard about growing up. Yeah. But like nobody was talking about ours like that. You know, like we were, the community was. And I mean, obviously I'm sure there are books, like it's probably escaping me, but there are books that do go into this. But I just felt like there wasn't enough. You know, like you get it so much. And I'm like, these movies define our entire culture. Why are we not talking about them enough? And so the first page is Danny making fun of her mother, who was watching I think it's Love Jones for like the 15th millionth time. And that was actually from my life. Like directly pulled from my life. My mother, it would be Thursday night, and she'd be like, ooh, Love Jones is on. I'm like, all right, let's watch this movie. And then Saturday after now, ooh, Love Jones. I'm just like, we just saw this 2 days ago. But it's also, I quote movies so much because I watched them multiple times when I was little, but also I secretly love them, you know? Like,
It's like your favorite song.
yeah, exactly. It just has so much influence on me and my life and everything. And so it just made sense that if I'm writing a story that I wanted to have like the same feel, like that slow build romance, like very moody, you know what I mean? It's not something like, oh my God, I love you, marry me now. It's like, you're like getting into the story, you're getting into the build of the characters and how they're falling for each other. I can't do that and not like give credit to the movies that inspired it.
Right. It's so important too because I remember I was like your mama. I watched Love Jones so many times. I cut my hair in college to look like a Neil Long.
And like Leah don't get enough credit. She's gorgeous.
So stunning.
Yes.
So it was just, it made me, like, I feel like as I was reading this chapter after chapter, even with the challenging parts or the parts where they were like, reaching some conflict, I just was smiling. Like, I really was just like, oh, this feels so good. It's so like a warm hug, you know? I do want to turn into the audience too. I know we have some folks here. If you have questions directly for Ebony regarding the book or even craft and writing, I would love to hear from you all. So just like raise your hands and put it out there. Put some pause. I have one more question. Think about it. So my other question too was like, do you feel like your book is in conversation with other books? I know that like with Love Radio and just with romance in general, I was seeing so much of Jasmine. And she gave you a beautiful blurb, and she's like almost like the queen of romance writing. Did you look to her or even Alyssa Cole or other writers that you admire to help you shape the structure?
Yeah, I mean, Jasmine Guillory, if you guys have not read her book, you should.
She did that today.
She blurbed it and right at the front. I'm like, yeah, this is right, right here. She also like hyped my book up on the Today Show. Like I owe her my firstborn. Like she was going hard for me, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can repay you ever. Like this is too much. She is absolutely somebody that I turn to for inspiration. Because she was one of the first women to be doing it, and also just like she's a good person. Like she was one of the first women to have like the characters on the front cover. You know what I mean? 2 Black characters on the front cover, and that inspired me to say like, I want them bold. I want them front and center. I want them in your face. As I was writing it, I was also like very much inspired by it. And it's funny because I had finished it, but it was just like confirmation. Like 7 Days in Juneteenth was another one that I absolutely loved. And it was interesting because one of my friends told me, she was like, based off of everything you told me about Love Radio, I feel like 7 Days is like the adult version of it. And I was like, really? Oh my God, I can't wait. But I couldn't read it because, you know, when you work in publishing, you got people who have connections. They read the stuff early and you just gotta sit there and wait. So when I finally got a copy, I read it and I was just like, I could see that in terms of just like the authenticity, you know, and just being like letting them, these 2 Black characters just be fully themselves. Yeah. And, you know, it's set in Brooklyn and me and Glory have lived there for a significant year before we came back. And so it just felt very much community oriented, like a Detroit. And so I would say those were like the 2 authors who like inspired me before and also like in terms of like being in conversation after. And I actually met Tia. I did a magazine conference at Howard years ago when I was here, and I met her there.
Oh my God, so you have to tell folks, what was Tia doing then? She was doing Shake Your Beauty.
Yeah, she was doing Shake Your Beauty, but also I believe she was at like, not Cosmo,
but some amazing magazine.
Yeah, some magazine there too. So that was how it was like her and like Corey Murray, like they were both at the conference, and I was like losing my crap. She was the former editor-in-chief of Essence.
Yes.
But yeah, like.
But it's still full circle. I feel that way too, because I was able to invite Tia to the book festival. She was at our first book festival. We read 7 Days in June, and that we're like legit friends now. But I remember being at Howard and meeting her because you know that her blog was so popular, and it was like one of the first like Black beauty blogs. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired. Like, so when I see her and I think about her books, I'm also like, oh my God, I remember being a freshman and being so obsessed with your whole career.
Exactly.
And the biggest thing I took away from her too when she came to our book club, she had done all those things by the time she was 30. And she was like, I had a whole second life, you know? So I love the fact that you were very clear about, you know, you came to decide to write much later. And like, and thank you and Jasmine. She was a lawyer before and then turned to writing. So anyone watching, anyone pursuing their craft, their writing, to not think like it's too late.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the media will have you think everything is too late. It's like, oh, you're 30, you're it. That's right. I just graduated 2 years ago, and I still have all this student loan debt. What do you mean? You know? But yeah, I think it's really important. I remember I used to beat myself up because after I graduated and like got into publishing, my sort of like recluse moment for me was when I got into publishing, and I was hearing all of this negativity, not directed at me, but other Black authors. And it's hard not to internalize that when you are dealing with an industry who knows nothing about our culture, who does not know how to market our books, and yet they're in these rooms telling me like, well, I don't think that's the case because in history, and I'm just like, well, what is this marketing plan? Where are you going? You know what I mean? Like all at the time it was like blogs, all these websites, everything. This is not catered to our people whatsoever. And so part of like my own sort of like realization of like, okay, you can actually write is I had to be like, I'm gonna fight y'all every step of the way and actually show you what a marketing plan to our people looks like. And you are dealing with an industry that like, this is your opinion versus mine. And you've never stepped foot in an area like this, and yet you're telling me how to do this.
You've never gone to HBCU.
You barely have any, you probably don't even have a Black friends. Like, we don't count work. What are you doing after 5 p.m.? Are you hanging out with people who look like me? No, that's a problem, right? And so, but my first interaction and like introduction into publishing was actually the Howard University bookstore. Like that's where I worked in undergrad. So for me, it was just like, I was very hard-headed. I'm like, you can't tell me we don't read, because I literally worked in a bookstore for 4 years while I was in school. I know this is the case. And so a lot of my career was like me working on books by Black authors and helping them launch their career and be successful. And that gave me the confidence to say, okay, you know what? Like, you gotta like silence all the stuff that they were telling you, because look, you were able to do it. You just need the right team, you need the right push, and your book will get out there. And that's when I was a bit more inspired to write again. So for anybody who, and this, it's not even writing, it's just like any creative thing you're doing, just anything you're doing in your career, like don't let people think that you're too late, because I was too shy. My friend is here, Chanel, she knows. She's like, you talk so much now. You were never like in front of people.
A lot.
Like I never used to be this person, like sitting in front of anyone, talking about myself, my art. Like this is like my worst fear. And I think if I tried to publish a book like this 5 years ago, one, I don't think the market would have been ready for it. And two, I don't think I would have had the same comfort and confidence to get up and talk about it. And so that is what I tell people. Like, it's not too late. I feel like everything that is happening to me is right on time, and I would not have changed a thing.
Amen. So we talking about books, we're also talking about soul. Okay.
Chicken soup. Remember chicken soup?
Yeah.
Giving y'all chicken soup.
I love that. I just love the energy and just how, and you know, we've known each other a little bit now, and I just feel I can't see you doing anything else. Like I'm ready for book 2, 3. I need the whole series. I need Danny in college. I need all of it.
Come on now.
Okay, he's like, wait a second. Don't get ahead of yourself, though. But I just would be. I think I'm ready. I think the audience is ready for the part 2, because we need more of this. You know. So if you want to.
I will never say never, because I've said never to a lot of things, and I've literally done the thing I will never say that I would do. So I'm never say never, but you know, we'll see. What I don't want, and since we're talking about movies, what I hate is like remakes that suck. That is like like it drives me insane. And for me, I'm like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So I need to be equally inspired, like because I know what this book has meant to some people, like. I don't want to come in and just throw something out there just because it seems like the right thing to do, or because the market, or because I feel like I will make money. Like I want to actually believe in it, because I really believe in like what I wrote in Love Radio, especially as a first book. So we shall see. If I'm inspired, You never know, but like for right now, I feel good about where it's at. So.
I love it. Well, so we have some young folks in the audience. This is our first YA book club. So my goddaughter Kai is in the audience. I see some lovely, lovely folks, really young people reading. What do you hope to take away from it? Especially if you're like 14, 15, 16, 17, like, and you read this. What do you think? Like, what do you want them to sit with?
A lot of things. One, I think the biggest thing that I want, like, Black girls, you know, Black femmes, like Black binary people to know is that, like, you can be courted, you can be loved, and it can be beautiful, and it can be whimsical, and it can, you know, this is obviously fiction, so I had to, you know, elevate it a bit. I had to make it a little bit more, you know, just grand for, like, what it is, for romance. Yeah, exactly. But I also wanted to make it feel like as grounded as possible and real life as possible, so that you can feel like, oh, like I had a similar situation happen to me. Like, oh, he was acting like this too the other day. You know, like, not trying to like have people to like break up. But I want people to know that, like, you can have this love that you desire, and it can be the way that you want it to be, and it can be in the setting that you want it to be in. It doesn't have to look like anybody else's version of it. Like, it can be your own. But also, like, understand what comes with that. If you want a healthy relationship, you got to make sure your own stuff is together. You know what I mean? You got to make sure mentally and emotionally you are ready for it, because I've also seen relationships where people get in it and they're just like, I really like them, but I don't feel like I'm worthy of this, right? So I just want, like, that's always been my thing since I was little, is I've always wanted my friends to know their worth. And so, like, that is what I hope first and foremost they think about it. And two, like, just go after your dreams, you know? And whether, like, if I don't want to give too much away, but Prince and his friends, like, at the end, they're kind of like figuring out their future, and they have different steps that they're taking in order to get to where they want to go. And I just wanted to show, like, different types of people and where they are, and, like, you know, their college aspirations, if they don't want to do college, if they went a different direction and they still were successful. Like, I just want to show our community too that, like, that can still happen, and it does not have to be also the standard way. So those are the two things I would say.
I love that. And so now I gave y'all a minute to think about your questions. So does anyone have a question? I see one audience. Go ahead, Anita.
Okay, how did you come up with the ideas for the dates? And specifically, the part where they go to a particular store that's open.
Okay, so we'll repeat the question. How did you come up with the ideas for the dates, particularly the part where they go to the store?
Okay, so the ideas for the dates just came from things that I remember loving when I grew up in Detroit. Skating, loved to go skating. And I just feel like I hadn't seen a lot of that in books. And I felt like that could just be just an amazing concert. Because I just remember going and, like, them skaters, yo, they would be in there just all up on each other, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was the funniest and sweetest and most romantic and vibey and blackest thing you could ever see. And I was like, that would be so much fun. But, like, the vibes there where the music is good and everybody's on the floor, like, it's just so much fun. So that one was easy to come up with. The bookstore one, I was trying to figure out something because, you know, obviously everything couldn't be like a Detroit staple. And so that was sort of like a fictional way of doing it. But the actual name of the bookstore is inspired by one of my good friends that I met at Howard, her father. So one of the things that I wanted to do in Love Radio was just, like, pay homage to, like, writers past and present. So you'll see that in there, like, songs and, you know, artists past and present musically, and also just, like, local hometown heroes. And so I talk about, like, there's a hair show scene in the book, and that is paying homage to Hair Wars, which is, like, a big hair show in Detroit. With Pearl Bookstore, it's actually paying homage to Pearl Music, which is like a record shop and like a CD shop, like back in the day, that my friend's father owned for decades. Like, they would have all these artists come in, and even, like, my cousin, I had my signing in Detroit last week, and he saw my friend's dad, and they had never met, and he was just like, yo, he looked familiar. Who is that? And she told him, and he was like, yeah, I used to go there all the time. So I just wanted to, like, show that respect. But also, I'm trying to convince my friend to open that back up, so that's neither here nor there. But when it came to the bookstore, I wanted to show, because basically in the bookstore, Prince kind of, like, creates this date for her, but he's also kind of having her educate him on these artists and authors. And I wanted to show, I think it's funny when I read like very book type books where both of the guy and the girl love books, because I've always been a book nerd, but most of the guys I dated, they wasn't thinking about it. You know what I mean? And so I wanted it to feel realistic. And I also wanted it to kind of low-key feel educational. So it was like him, as he was learning about her and what she liked, then he decided, okay, I'm gonna like educate myself. And to me, I always think that is like the sweetest, when a man that you're into is like actually really showing how he likes something that you're into or wants to learn about something that you're into.
And I will say, I believe that's what Obama did. In one of his memoirs, he talks about how he met someone. He's like, oh, I got all these books. I read them for her so I can talk to her about it. And I'm like, yes, that is a key. Reading, understand. I also want to say, we are in this beautiful bookstore, and I love the fact that Gregory just like looking over us, like smiling. Yes, I agree. I read all the books too, sis. So, any more questions in the audience? Any more curious folks? Oh, there we go.
I got one. Ebony, you've reached your final form, and it's beautiful. I'm not going to embarrass you. But I just want to know, what did you learn as a debut author? What did you learn that surprised you in the process? Or what did you learn about yourself during the process?
Okay.
Go ahead.
About I learned I can be really stubborn. That's one thing. I thought I knew that about myself, but I really was hesitant about whether or not I was going to publish, because a few years prior, not few, like 5 years ago, I actually tried to query my writing, and I didn't tell anybody. I just did it. And I got rejections because it was just like about 2 Black teenagers. And that's a story that I'm still, considering bringing back. But it was just one of those things that I felt like the rejections were sort of, essentially what they were saying was like, oh, well, we know your work and that's this, that, and the other, but like, we feel like it could be more. And I felt like the more was like, the way it was said was like, it could be more trauma, it could be more this, it could be more that. And it was just like, that's not what I want to do. So I was like, okay, cool, then I guess I'm not gonna write for a little bit. And so then I stopped. And then I'm like, okay, do I want to get an MFA? And they have like these low residency MFAs that you can go to like a few times, a few like weekends out of the year, or a few weeks. I think it's like 2 weeks. Yep. For like one each semester. But then I was like, I don't want to spend the extra money. Like, I could just have a mentor, I don't want to go through all that. And so I just kept waiting. And I was like, I will just keep waiting until I'm finally able to write the thing that I want to write. And that is something that I learned about myself, is that like I was very strong in my convictions. I know a lot of writers who have written first books and they've been kind of embarrassed by it because they and I know that's my privilege. I had the privilege of knowing that when I came in, like, there are things that you could push back on. You don't have to push back on everything, like, but the things that are very, very important to you, like, do not falter, in that. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm just not gonna write, until I was able to go out on submission for this story and people really loved it. And I do think it was a combination of the story, but also like my name in the industry, and I purposely did that too because I knew that would help me. But I'm just very happy that I was so stubborn about making sure that the book I wanted to write was written, because if I would have allowed publishing to tell me what to do, then I would have written something that I would have probably been like, I wish I could take that back.
Right,
yeah.
right. And just having that fortitude and just like that patience, you know what I mean? Like, I think that is the key that most people forget about writing a book. It requires so much diligence and patience with yourself, with your editor, with just like the whole process. A book takes it's a long, from the time you submit it until the time the book is published, you go through so many waves and different changes, copy edits, the revisions, all of it requires you to be so patient. And the fact that like, you're like, you know what, I know what I want. I know what I want to live in the page. Because at the end of the day, a book is forever.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. It's not like you can take it back, or like it's
delete the tweet.
Right. Or it's not the internet. It's not the internet. It is so forever. And it's a beautiful thing. So it like adds to, and I think when it comes to all Black writers, it's not just about writing a book, it's like adding to your legacy. Like this is like part of your name forever. So I'm glad you're proud of it. And we're proud of it too. Like it was just I'm not even like being facetious. Like I was smiling so much as I read it, and I felt like, so no, that's my girl.
stuff is so important. It starts young. Like, he's in bookstores young. He's able to see books that reflect, like, his life. He's seeing his dad and his mom on a cover of a book. Like, that's everything. That's literally the whole reason I'm doing it, you know?
And we're grateful for some people. Do we have any more questions? Yes.
So you wrote both Danny and Prince in the first person.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to write a boy? Like, because it's something if you narrate like third person, you're just writing about him.
Yeah.
You're like looking through his eyes, you're looking through his personality. Like, what was that like? You know, you're not boys.
You know, it's funny. People have asked me. It was actually easy. Me and my dad have this joke because he has all girls. Was that I was his son? I was his first son. Because I have like a lot of. I don't want to. I mean, I feel like we're in a place where that doesn't happen. But I have like a lot of like chill traits like a guy does, and also I was very much inspired by like growing up, and my father was just a clown. So like. That was how we dealt, just like most people. That's how we dealt with everything. We were just like inappropriately making jokes all the time. And so I think it gave me, you know, a lot of strength in like how to write for a boy for that reason. But also I'm also very observant. And so I just love watching like men just clown. And so it made it easy for me to write in that point of view. But yeah, I think having strong men in my life, like strong personalities, starting with my dad, with my husband, like I just have a lot, my cousins, like the cousin I was just telling you about, we were in Detroit and we were down the street, he was like, y'all know who this is? This is Ebony LaDelle. And the girl was like, period. And I'm like, what is happening? But like, I'm just used to that kind of personality all the time. So it made it easy. And it was also a lot of fun to write friends. Like, Danny was obviously, I'm like, I could write Danny, like, well, she was actually harder than I thought she was going to be to write, but I felt like it was going to be easier to write him. But Prince, like, for some reason, it just came through so easy to me.
That's perfect. Well, I want to close with one more question because, even though I know you said never. How can we support you, and what else is happening in your with your tour, with your writing? Just let us know how we can support you.
Yeah, so I am still going to be doing stuff through the fall, so that's really exciting. I have some things that have not been announced yet, but like they're really promising. Like just in conversation with some pretty dope authors. I'm still pinching myself just how everything is coming together. So you can follow me on social. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the stuff at Ebony LaDelle. I am writing my second book now. Because as y'all heard, I was very quiet about just writing in general. So I'm gonna be just as quiet about what the second book is about. But I do think it helps me because it just like the pressures of everything is just, I don't feel like y'all are like, well, you said on this day that you were gonna write this book. I can just write the thing and see how I like it and then submit it and see where it goes. But yeah, I am diligently working on that. And Love Radio is still chugging along. Like there's interest in, that space. I don't want to jinx it. But hopefully, it'll do all the things. Hopefully it'll be on a screen somewhere someday. Hopefully it'll do all that. We'll see.
It's like out there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just gonna keep chugging along and promoting it because the DMs that I get from girls who are just like, Ebony, like it's like long messages of like, thank you for writing this book. I needed this book. I can't wait to see what else you do. Like that is enough to just wanna to feel me and keep it going. So.
Yes. We appreciate you and we love you. And we can't wait to see all the formats and all the second books and all the things that you do. We'll be here to support you.
Thank you so much, Glory, and thank you to Sankofa. Like I really appreciate y'all for letting me do this here, especially like looking at how I write across the street. Like it feels like I came home. So thank you.
Thank you both again, Ebony, Glory. Thank you all, the audience, virtual and in person. Before we close it out, I'm wondering if, Ebony, would you like to read a little bit, like from a little piece of the book, real quick?
This is being streamed too, right?
Yep, right there. You go right
to the camera. I'm like, how many people see this? Okay, fine. Y'all bear with me because I haven't done this in a little bit, but. Okay, cool. So this part is actually after Prince and Danny meet. So for anyone who hasn't read Love Radio, they meet at the Detroit Library. It's kind of like one of my friends describes it as a meat burn because they, have a little situation. Danny basically made some assumptions about Prince that were kind of false, and she feels bad, and so now she's trying to make things right. Tree-lined streets are a thing in Detroit neighborhoods, and for some reason they've been an obsession of mine since I was little. I asked my dad once what type of trees were standing tall on our lawn, and he did what he always did. Took me to our home office, pulled my mom's desk chair beside his, and helped me look it up. We determined that a man by the name of Judge Augustus Woodward had planted the trees along the city's broad avenues himself, wanting to give Detroit a Parisian flair. There are so many species of trees in Detroit that while my navigation skills are pretty useless, I tend to be able to tell where I am based on the trees in the area. The fragrance of the air is crisp and earthy with slight notes of winter looming ahead. And that's what I'm smelling right now, with the windows down and the autumn breeze tousling my braids. Soon enough, the heavy snow will cover the white pine trees in the area, giving the white Christmas I look forward to. I can't wait to experience the holidays in New York City, taking pictures at the Rockefeller Center tree, throwing snowballs in Central Park, and all the things that made New York seem so magical. And for a brief moment, that thought soothes me and I can put the night in the back of my mind. Just in time, too. My phone tells me I've arrived at my destination. I park in front of a red brick and white aluminum bungalow-style home with a black gated security door. I hope this boy doesn't think I'm weird stopping by like this. But I need to apologize and make this right. And for some reason, walking up to him at school with a bag of kids' books seems even weirder to me. I hear Dad's voice in my head, the disappointment breaking it. I grab my gift bag out the passenger seat and head to the porch. The doorbell doesn't seem to work, so I slip my hand through the steel bars and knock for what feels like forever, until the door opens and a little face peeps through. Hi, I say, waving. The little boy on the other side just looks at me with those same big eyes I saw from Prince's social media account, staring between strands of locks covering his face. Is your brother here? I want to give him something. Mook, what did I tell you about opening the door without an adult? A powerful, yet warm voice from the inside booms. My heart skips a beat. Prince. But I can't open it without a key anyway, he whines. And there's a girl at the door. I don't care how pretty she is. You still can't. The door opens wide and Prince stops in his tracks. He drops the keys to the metal screen door. And I'm starting to think this is a bad idea. His brother picks them up and places them back in his hand. And it snaps Prince out of his shot. Oh, thanks, little man, he says, rubbing Mook's head. How about you take the ground beef out the fridge so we can get started on burgers? I'll be there in a second. Mook wastes no time and jolts to the kitchen. I clear my throat. I'm sorry if this is a bad idea, I say, nerves making my stomach squeeze. I just wanted to come over and bring this. I lift the bag in my hand and Prince realizes he still hasn't opened the metal door. My bad. He unlocks it and almost jumps outside. Want to sit? We both find spots on his front porch, and I watch him attempt to wipe the wrinkles out of his sweatpants. I'm trying not to notice, but he doesn't look bad for someone in gray sweats and a faded black tee that's probably been worn far too many times at home. I pass him the bag and he looks inside. A smile spreads across his face. He looks at me with genuine glee. You ain't have to do this. Yes, I did. I went back to the library today and talked to Miss Thompson. She told me how you were going in on the book selection and even did a dramatic reading in front of her. Man, he smiles and it turns into a chuckle. He pulls a book out of his bag and starts flipping the pages. It's then I notice his dimples, mischievously creeping out as his smile grows. There's something charming about the way he's admiring the books I brought him, something that makes me feel at ease. If Mom were here, she tried to say this whole thing was a meet cute or whatever, but I'm just here to make things right and that's it. Yo, who is this? Oh, I say coming to. Kadir Nelson. You've seen his work before. I watch him as he's in a trance, trying to put his finger on it. You're the music head. Where have you seen this style of art before? A light bulb goes off. Oh shit, Drake's Nothing Was the Same. Yep, and he also did artwork for the Michael Jackson album. My dad told me about that one. I give Prince praise as he carefully reads each page of I Promise. I knew he'd be a LeBron James fan, and I wanted to give him something he enjoyed reading, just as much as his brother would enjoy listening to. While he takes in the story, I take in the scenery. We are approaching the golden hour, and I watch the crimson hue leaves shimmy to the ground. Across the street are two older women sitting on their porches and probably gossiping about the latest neighborhood drama. And I can smell freshly cut grass thanks to the gentleman a few houses down, who's finishing up the last bit of details on his well-groomed lawn. Danielle, thank you. I put my hand up. No need. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come at you like that. I noticed not all the books have been taken out the bag. There's one more book in there. He pulls out the last book in the bag. Crown, he reads. A book on getting the lineup? That's dope. He turns it over and looks at the book description. Are there any books about little boys with locks? I'm stumped. I don't know if I've seen any, to be honest, but I'll look out for some. I like that, Prince eyes me, his expression wistful. I feel myself beginning to panic. I start to get up and walk to my car, which catches Prince by surprise. He scrambles to get up and follow me. Wait, why are you leaving? I don't stop until I'm right at my car, hitting the unlock button on my fob. I thought we were having a good time. Yeah, no, this was cool, I say, refusing to look at him while I fiddle with my keys. I just lost track of time and I have some homework to get done. I don't know why I'm acting so strange right now. Well, can I see you again? Maybe you can recommend some books? I feel like these books are ones I'm actually going to enjoy reading to him, and I have you to thank for that. I don't think that's a good idea, I mutter. It's time to go, right now. Hey, Danielle, can you look at me? I slowly turn around and look. He does tower over me, and I feel exposed. I glance up at him. Why don't you think it's a good idea, he asks simply. I go to open my mouth, but nothing comes out. I don't have an answer for him that makes sense. Look, if I did anything on the porch to make you feel comfortable, I'm sorry. I was just so excited you showed me interest in someone I care so much about. I just want to thank you. He looks nervous, like he can't take the rejection I'm about to give him. Can I do that, please? I sigh. For some reason, everything he says feels right, and yet that feels so wrong. I don't talk to guys. I don't date. I don't like any of this. But screw it. It's just a thank you, right? Next weekend, I say, hanging out. He heaves a huge sigh of relief, and that damn dimple makes another appearance. Next weekend it is. Thank you.
So if you don't have your book already, you can pick it up today and Ebony will sign it. I'm also gifting some copies too, so just let me know if you need some help. Just come tap me on the shoulder. A Well-Read Black Girl will donate. That's not a problem. So we just want to make sure everyone who wants a book can get a book and have it signed by Ebony. So thank you again, Sankofa. All right, y'all. That's a wrap. Yay.
Thank y'all for coming out. Like she said, if y'all ready to have your book signed or you want to get one, we can start right now.
I got my little gold.
No, amazing. I can't wait to see where you go. Yes, for sure.
Yes, thank you so much. That was amazing. Like, I can't wait to have you back again. We definitely
Can I put you all together? Yes.
Yeah, people were in the comments like, oh, that was so good.
Do you want, she not on her phone.
You said what?
Do you want these one or you want?
You know, I don't think me. I got an iPhone 12. It ain't a 13. I got a little bit better. I'm too neat.
You good.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much. It was so beautiful. I was going back. You couldn't see my face, but I was just like, yes. I really feel seen.
Aww.
I hadn't even opened it yet. That little part, that was a lot. Like the whole bookstore thing, I did that with guys. Like, 10 years to the bookstore today. Going to the bookstore, right?
You gonna educate me today.
I love it. Thank you.
What is your Instagram too?
Reading this book felt like two of my favorite things coming together. Like, I have a huge record collection, so I was like, even though it was dusting off the record player, and I was like, that's me. And then it was the book, so I'm like, that's also me. No, for real, I was too late.
I miss those Black Love Story movies.
No, for real.
What's your name?
I'm Howard, nice to meet you. Howard. Yes, nice to meet you.
Don't let anybody run.
Hello, yes. How are you? Good to see you. I love you. I was you on the corner when I walked in. Good. My sister used to come here a lot. I live all the way in the coast.
Yes.
That's a little track. Yes. Oh, that's great. Yeah. You running into them more.
You got it?
Yeah, same. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
What's my name?
What's
I did. I had a good time. I literally just finished reading like this morning because. I had too much stuff. I tried to be selective in what I picked up. I ended up with some duplicates of things. So I'm just sharing them out. I was saying this book about like my two loves coming together, like the music and the books. So I was like, yes. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Right, yeah. I like it. Really explain it. Yeah, that's I feel like there's still so much. It'll be a nice surprise for you. Because when I read this, a lot of times I didn't read this. I didn't read this not because I just know what it is. Right. They are I know that I trust I get through the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, I love her cover. It's just the black and then the gold on the side. I think she looks yeah, me too. It's an actual story that Is it with the live? She started like school series. Those were and then a lot of the library tonight. I'm writing which book? Sorry. Are you doing yeah, right. Yeah. Take a look around. I really want one that Ebony to give you, but if there's other yeah. We got to talk about it after that. You got to be able to read it and have a full report.
hangout session. Thank you again for
Of course, thank you for having me.
I was like, I basically want to tell you that I'm hosting the festival. I wanted to. We did it in Brooklyn once, but I wanted to do something like in DC. It was so. Originally, I made the mistake of thinking I could do it. Now that they are holding, here.
Oh, yeah.
So now we're thinking we probably go right with that. So I'm going to tour like one round of it, make sure it works, and then I'm going to announce it in the meeting. So but I want to give you a heads up too. So I don't know if you're.
No, that sounds good to me. I was hoping you were going to say October,
I know, exactly. So I think that like after like homecoming's will be done, it'll be more chill. I mean, clearly, I want to make sure you're available too. Would you be around? You think might end up doing it that day?
What?
With the festival.
Oh wait, what? You said the
Because
first?
I don't want it to come
The first
the first Saturday of
November. I think I am.
because there's y'all events, there's just so much stuff happening.
Oh shoot,
What festival
that's
is
my
it?
friend's baby shower.
Oh,
It's
okay.
nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you too. No, it's fine. I'm okay, man.
Are you doing all
Thank you so much for reaching out. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Still trying to
Collaborate.
No, for real, this is my first time here, so I'm so excited to
Oh,
be
you did
here.
raise your hand.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll
Thank
like
you.
today books and stuff that you've been vending. But yeah, definitely come back. We have plenty of events.
I'm trying to do more like bookish things.
Yes. You look kind of
They could go. It really could go either way. It really could go either way.
I'm about that life too. Like all kind of fun.
Yeah, and I just got my driver's license. Like right before they changed.
you're young. You're like, okay.
No, I'm
So I'll
20.
let you know.
I should have been at my driver's license.
Oh my gosh, it was like super young.
Really?
I'm 29, so
Okay, yeah, I turned 29 this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of November?
Yeah.
I have my license, but I don't drive.
Yeah.
Is that your baby?
Yes.
You are right to friend.
Reach out to me.
Will do.
And we're gonna touch about I'm gonna look and see what you might use.
I was about to say, I don't know if anybody, it's so weird. Like, I have a lookbook album, but it has like a lot falling off.
Hours to like these past 2 weeks, we only get like 20 something like stuff like when we normally get like hundreds. It's very valuable.
It's really, for me, I feel like it's like a year. I'll have a whole day where like, I'll get lucky if I get 100 views on my story, which in comparison to like, my personal Instagram, I have way less, like 3,000 followers, but I can get 100 views, 200 plus views easily, and I used to be able to do that, and now it's like,
I know. Is this a book you have listed on your business account?
I do.
I think it's
Yeah, and then the first post I made, I wanted to make it so that people just put it on the website, but then if I did like that, it wouldn't let me share it to my story, So what's the point of that?
yeah.
But yeah. Let me start. I'm about to look to your blog so that they can talk over now. If you won't buy it, you should buy it from my own store. But I'm gonna keep around and buy something because.
Thank you for your support.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
We have a pretend like at home, so he thinks this is it.
Do you guys know what the next book I think is going to be?
We're thinking about what's that? Baltimore Boys.
Baltimore Boys. Oh, Kings of Anymore?
Kings of
Kings of
Anymore.
Anymore.
I keep saying Baltimore Boys, like that's the fifth time. But yes, that.
I gotta go get my 12 books.
I gotta do it again. I'm sorry.
Like 12 books. I gotta get it from my old neighbor. So I'm going.
You have to get all the way down there. You know that. Your knees are good. I hope.
Yes. Nice seeing you again. We're gonna run into each other. Yes. No problem. If you see anything that looks interesting, let me know so maybe we can go to something and link up again.
I was trying. Oh, you talk about it.
Oh, I
As one of the people that wait, remind me how to spell your name.
Yeah. Sounds cool. Yeah, sounds good. Do you do register?
So put all the books that
going on right
now.
What?
Yeah, you gotta talk about this stuff.
Seriously, I'm like, as a social worker, I'm like, I'm about to give you some.
Thank you.
Of course.
Well, I was thinking about.
If you can't find it, it's okay. You can send it to me.
Yeah, I'm doing it and I asked her to help me find something. She knows my son, so she's gonna help me find something.
And so
She didn't like that. She's gonna help me find it. The thing is, I was just getting on him. I was like, you got to read more. You got more of those than the first thing like you were saying. I was like,
she had 3 she was like, I think she was like her sister or something. And like had her.
I know that, but I ain't the part. That's all I got.
I appreciate it. I mean, we are gonna do it more.
Yeah.
Oh, and the room is we're gonna start.
So I feel like she's gonna take her sister's house. Wow. I was like, yeah, like this is back to school. I just didn't make it. No, it worked. Listen, don't get let's get this. Like, I literally said to my friends, like, I didn't even know what it's like to be 40. Like, 40. And I was like, maybe you're so lost right now. Like, it doesn't record. Yeah. I think, like, everybody, like, the rise of social media was like,
Thank you so much. I feel like I've already learned so much more. Just
but I think not everybody is starting to miss, like, just the human interaction and, like, really authentic.
It's good seeing you again.
How you try to get
Yes, definitely.
Thank
you, you too.
You know what I mean? Right. It's still so like, all right, let's talk. Let's check about it. Yeah, exactly. And not just like a natural way to like talk. Hopefully, you know, we gotta bring that back. No, seriously. That was great.
Can I get a picture with you?
Of course.
You look a little busy, so I'm gonna get back.
We can ask her. Oh, she are you fine staying for a little bit, or do you want to?
Yeah, I'm fine. I thought I was gonna be here till 3, so.
Right, we can add I can absolutely give you pictures. I'm gonna help her.
That's fine, no worries.
Feel free to look and shop.
Yes, I will. I seen something that I think I want. So, here. Here you go. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I was just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Let me stop saying that. I can't believe so that one might, because especially he's like into like fantasy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
These are contemporary. This one is told from the point of view, but I also think it's very like does he read contemporary?
I want to expose him, so I don't want to just give him like everything that he wants to read. I want him to like, I don't think Cameron knows what he likes. That's when he's exposed.
Okay, so this book is like a prequel to the History Gift.
Oh, okay. This one? You could have, and this one. Like, some of you like, talk to
No,
everybody.
actually, it's about, so he's like, basically he finds out that he got out of prison. And so he's trying to like navigate. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
I see what you're saying. Got it, yes. You could read and understand, but
so
yes.
this one, so we could try this one. Okay. Well, I'll recommend some. This one is a you did. basically like they're like black and brown girls in the train. I'm waiting for this to be. Yeah. I worked on this book. I was like, y'all do everything. Yeah, I heard the name. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I just saw this. He was like, I'm very curious to know she probably does. The other way. But anywho, I sometimes they say what happens is like some little option and so like you never know.
And this is the same. Right? This one is the takeoff. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it was
It was you would just next time. I might. Yeah, they do events, so I'm gonna sign up.
Oh, that's nice.
You know, I can sign up for the children's events.
Yeah.
I'll pick up my small copies of Love Green. My neighbor has it. She said it's my copy over there right now. And you are a fabulous moderator, my friend. You are fabulous.
I'm so glad we were able to do this. Thank you so much.
Okay, wait. I want to get a picture of this.
Oh, yes. Can we do it outside, son?
I trust your vision.
Yeah. How about? Kaya, can you pause it for a second? And then we'll go buy our books. Did you pick the one you want? Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, let's do this one. I'm gonna get him this one and I'm gonna buy him this one.
Oh, that is so cute.
Yeah. This is perfect. And you can start packing up his stuff. Stuff back in his bag.
Yeah. What else?
Okay.